What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another Tottenham update. It's World Cup day today, people. 8 o'clock kick tonight. Festival of football awaits. The first game we will be covering for you guys is 3 in the morning. We'll be in the studio for the Korea Czech Republic game. So let's hope that Sonny can put on a show for us. So come and join us for the watch along. But let's get into a bit of Tottenham news before the madness kicks off, and we're going to start off talking about Jan-Paul van Hecke. And 2 reports on Van Hecke. The first one is from Ben Jacobs saying that a third bid is now expected to be offered by Tottenham Hotspur. And Jay Harris of The Athletic says that Spurs want to wrap up a deal for Van Hecke before the Sunday game, which is the Netherlands kickoff to the World Cup. That we heard already that Van Hecke wants it sewn up before the World Cup. We were thinking, is it going to be before Thursday, before Sunday? Well, it looks like hopefully they're going to try and get it wrapped up before Sunday.
Yeah, which is great news. And obviously with Senesi now announced, focus now moves on to Van Hecke and Savinho and see if we can get these deals done as soon as possible. But obviously there's a bit of time pressure now with Van Hecke wanting to get his deal done or his future resolved before the World Cup. And if it's not resolved before Sunday, then there's probably a bit of fear that this will rumble on till after the World Cup. And then there's obviously, you never know what can happen to other clubs, convince him in that time. And that's obviously, at the moment, you got to be confident, because at the moment, all the noise is the only one to Tottenham. We're trying to get this deal sewn up. We're prepared to, pay a decent fee. So I've got a good feeling that this all will be tied up before Sunday. But if it does rumble on, then that uncertainty will definitely worry a few Tottenham fans for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the uncertainty is already starting to worry me. Like I said on the update yesterday, things have gone awfully quiet ever since the season ticket renewal deadline. And it's not like we haven't been stung by this football club in the transfer market from these aspects before. We've even had Here We Goes last summer for high-profile targets, and we never got them over the line. So I'm still very much hopeful that we're going to get it over the line, but I'm not as sure today as I was maybe like a week ago, just before that deadline, when all the news was like real hot off the press and we're getting updates constantly about it. Now we've got this update today, but it's nothing really new to what we've heard over the last, like a week ago. So I don't know. It's just awfully quiet for me.
Look, these things take time. They're multi-million-pound deals. They're not going to happen overnight. And I think I'm confident. I'm confident it'll happen. I'm confident it's probably going to happen before Sunday. We'll hear some confirmation. Whether we see images of Van Hecke in a Tottenham shirt and all that kind of stuff, that's probably going to have to wait a little bit. Maybe he's going to have to wait to have an interview with him and all that kind of stuff. But I think you'll hear news of an agreement fairly soon, I reckon. That's why I reckon on this deal.
I'm going to hold you to it.
Hold me to it. The only one's Tottenham. It's just De Zerbi's son we're talking about here.
We need a bomber, and we need it fast. So that's Van Hecke. Let's talk about Pedro Porro. A couple of updates on him as well. Gianluca Longari says that Pedro Porro could leave Tottenham. Among the clubs that have already made contact with his agents are Manchester City and Atletico Madrid. Tottenham values Porro at nearly 60 million. Fabrizio Romano says that he understands that Tottenham manager Roberto De Zerbi does see Porro as a crucial player and doesn't want him to leave the club this summer, despite reports Tottenham want Porro to stay. So there's been a lot of reports saying that Tottenham want Porro to stay. Not many reports saying that Porro wants to stay at Tottenham. That does bother me a little bit. And this is a new name that's been put in there as well with Atletico Madrid. Obviously, Real Madrid was mentioned, and then that kind of went away because they signed Dumfries. Man City have never gone away from these rumours. So are you worried?
Yeah, I think I am worried. I think you'd be silly not to when he's been here a while. Then that he's got a couple of years left on his contract, so that needs signing. We've been 17th twice in a row, and I think he's one of the better right backs in the league, in my opinion. And I think a lot of good clubs will be looking at him thinking he could really improve us. He solves a problem for us, and he's probably thinking, I've done my time at Tottenham. I've been here a while. Could it be time to move on to better things? I hope he's not feeling that way, and I'm sure he likes De Zerbi. I know he's very passionate about the club and he appreciates Tottenham. But reality is, we're not in Europe next season, and for a player of his quality, he obviously should be playing in Europe every single season. And this will be the second season out of 4. Well, he came in January, but in terms of full seasons, this will be the second season out of the 4 seasons he's been here. He's not been in Europe. So that doesn't look good on us and how we run things. Obviously, we can make him promises. We can say things are changing. De Zerbi's going to have power and we're going in a new direction. And maybe if Van de Ven stays, does that convince Porro to maybe stay as well? Maybe there's a domino effect there. But when Man City come call, I'm less worried about Atletico. I think he probably stays if Atletico are the only option. But I think if Man City are really serious about pushing a deal through and there's talk behind the scenes from Porro about a potential move to Man City, and you look at their team, Núñez is currently filling a role there. There's clearly a role for him, and he could be a perfect Man City kind of player. I mean, those are tough to battle against, aren't they? When Man City come calling, it's tough for players not to get their head turned. Plus, whatever contract we offer, could Man City, beat that? That's also a worry as well. I know we're committed to hiring the wage bill. That's what the word from the club is. And there was also rumours that we offered a higher financial package to Semenyo in January than City did. So maybe we could match him for the contract. But we know Man City will be looking to go for a title next season. They're going to be in a title race most likely. And if Porro's looking at thinking, could I get a shot of winning something massive? Or do I trust that Tottenham are going in the right direction? I mean, I know where my money would be. Maybe he gives us another year, but maybe he starts to push for a move. It's hard to know where his head's at. He's one of those players who's been very loyal. He's been available for every game. He always gives it all. And sometimes he's been a bit underappreciated at this football club. Maybe not by within the 4 walls of the club, but definitely from the fans, and don't fully appreciate what he offers. So maybe a fresh start somewhere where we really appreciate his talents. And maybe he could show he really is the best right back in the league. Because I think if he played for City, he would have that reputation. Whereas right now, there is still a bit of disrespect about him.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And, all he has to do is look at his predecessor in Kyle Walker. He was doing well at Tottenham Hotspur and he left for pastures new. Obviously, Tottenham were in a much different space then as they were now. So even more chance for him leaving. But he went over to Man City and look at the trophies that he won. What was it? 4 Premier League titles, a Champions League in there as well, multiple cups as well. So, I mean, he's got to be looking at being like, look, it's all great at Tottenham, got the best facilities, but if I go to Man City, I could be a Premier League great here. That's where I could be, like Kyle Walker is right now. Like Kyle Walker is now considered as one of the best, if not the best, right back in Premier League history. That's what he's considered at because of the trophies that he's won. And obviously the way he's played in getting there. So he was never considered that at Tottenham. He was considered a good right back, but never like the best in Premier League history. He's gone to Man City and he's done what he's done. So Porro will definitely be looking at being like, can I etch myself in the Premier League history books by joining Man City? I mean, I think he would massively consider Atletico Madrid as well. Not only is it going back home, does he want to go back home? Obviously, that's a question. But he's looking at Atletico Madrid compared to Tottenham. I mean, Atletico Madrid were in the semi-finals of the Champions League last season. They're a very, very good football side. I know, maybe the style of play isn't exactly what he wants, but they're still a football team that can challenge for La Liga, can challenge for big trophies. So, and playing under a manager like Diego Simeone, I think he would enjoy. I think they'll share the same passion for football. So I wouldn't rule out Atletico Madrid at all. I really wouldn't. But I think if he had the choice, it would definitely be Man City over Atletico Madrid. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'm very worried about these two aspects. And with him, having only 2 years left in his contract? If he doesn't sign one, Spurs are going to be forced to sell, whether it be this summer or next summer. But you'd expect us to get a much bigger fee this summer.
I think with the Atletico one, obviously depends to see how much money they have and all that kind of stuff. I just get the feeling he wouldn't force himself to move to Atletico, but he might push for a move to City if that's on the table. I think Atletico, he might be happy to go there if there's an offer and Tottenham are willing to accept. But I think when it comes to City, I'm worried he might push for it, and I'm worried that he might start making agitations to go there. That's what I'm worried about. I don't think he does that for Atletico. That's just the feeling I get. But it's a concern. It is a concern. Let's hope De Zerbi's power of persuasion can change his mindset and change his outlook on the club, and maybe he's convinced to stay. But whether he's convinced to sign a new contract, it's a different kettle of fish. Then again, Romero did last summer. I know we can say what you want about how it turned out, but he did sign one. That surprised everyone. There's talks of Van de Ven we'll get into in a minute. So maybe he can be convinced as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Next up, let's talk about Micky, because it's nothing new, but Ben Jacobs saying that he thinks there's a strong chance that he will stay at Tottenham and sign a new contract this summer because he's really enjoying life under Roberto De Zerbi. So I want to hear these reports about Pedro Porro as well. If we can get these reports about both of these guys, because we're all talking about, with these signings that we brought in of Robertson and Senesi, how we're looking so good and stacked and balanced in defence. And then one player to leave that just kind of, unlevels the balancing act, as it will. So, we need both of these guys to sign up this summer. Yeah,
for sure. It's amazing. We've spoken about the U-turn, it seems, in Van de Ven and his mood and his body language. And it seems that De Zerbi's really lit a fire under Van de Ven, and he seems back on board with the Tottenham project, where it seemed to be waning, or had even turned, should we say, at some point to last season with his form and everything. So if we can get him to sign a contract, that would be a statement of intent, because we know there would be a queue of clubs lining up to sign Micky Van de Ven, and they would all love him as part of their team. He's such a unique kind of centre-back as well. No centre-backs have that pace that Van de Ven offers in the back line. So I think he's been honing in on the other skills in his repertoire, his defensive ability, his ability in the box. So he's becoming a really well-rounded centre-back. So we need him to stay. Definitely there were times last season when he was doing those interviews for the overlap, and then his form was dipping. He just was moping around the place, and there was talks of Liverpool, and those weren't going away. So definitely there were times last season like, this guy, he's going to push for a move in the summer. I was certain of it. But it seems De Zerbi has changed everything for him. And has he signed a new contract since being here? I don't think so, has he? So would this be the first one?
Did he not sign one? I'm sure he signed one.
He must have signed one. I'm trying to think when it was. Well, he should be with our highest earners, is my point, if he's not there already. So with Romero leaving as well, with potentially leaving, and him filling a bit of a void in the leadership group, he's going to have a lot more responsibility on his shoulders. So his pay packet should reflect that. And I think that's probably what he's demanding.
Yeah, he could very well be the club captain come next season. That's where he's at right now. So I think he's looking at it. He could be the leader of this group, has been the leader of this group in the absence of Romero last season. And particularly at the last 7 games, he really helped Spurs get over that finish line with strong mentality as well. So, let's hope that we can get that news about his contract sooner rather than later. But I don't expect anything to be done till after the World Cup, to be honest. This is an odd one. We're linked to a player called Vieri from Gremio. Portal de Gremista saying that Tottenham and Sunderland have now entered the race for Gremio defender Vieri. So he's a 21-year-old left centre-back, has played on a number of occasions, not many occasions, at left-back as well. After signing Senesi, I don't see the point of it. I don't see this being a viable option. Maybe if you really believe in his talents, you bring him in, loan him out for a couple of years while Senesi gets older, 32, 33, bring him back in. But I don't see, I just think this is just nothing, basically.
I think it's another report of a club using Tottenham's name to garner interest, which is not uncommon in the transfer window, is it? Let's be honest. So as I've said before, I think if we can get a Van Hecke over the line, I don't think we sign another defender this window.
Agreed. Spurs Journo has been giving us some insight into what midfielders Spurs could be targeting this summer. And the first one, Thuram, So he says that Tottenham are one of the clubs considering Pedro Thuram as a possible midfield signing. There are a long list of options for Spurs, none currently advanced. We'll get into the long list in a minute. But Pedro Thuram, he's a player that has been linked with Spurs in the past. Obviously, Juventus going through a massive summer of change this year with change at the top. And I think they're looking to get a whole host of players in and out. It just hasn't been happy camp there for a long time at Juventus. So I think they're trying to go through.
Tottenham sporting director Damien Comolli has left.
Yeah, is he the world-class sporting director that Spurs are
Who
after?
knows? Who knows? Run it back. Who knows? He brought in Gareth Bale and Modric, I think.
He brought in a lot of top players at Spurs, and at the time we were kind of like, "Who is this Comolli?" And then, 5-6 years later, we're like, "You know what? That guy was actually onto something."
I mean, there was also the summer that we sold Berbatov and Keane and brought in Pavlyuchenko and Darren Bent. So you get some hits and misses, I guess.
Yeah, but I think when you actually look back at Tottenham in that era, and when you look at all the world-class players that we had, I think he was the one that brought in the lion's share of them.
No, that's absolutely right. But I think if we had a summer like that this summer, people would be calling for his head.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's difficult then as well, because like these players, maybe not Defoe, but like Berbatov and Keane. Keane obviously got his head turned by Liverpool, and he started to push for a move. And Berbatov, everyone knows how the Berbatov one played out. So these two guys were desperate for a move at the time, and it was the replacements. Anyway, forget about talking about that transfer window. Let's talk about this transfer window. Pedro Thuram. He has a player that has been linked with Spurs in the past. Very good player. I'm not sure if he's in the World Cup squad or not, but yeah, I mean, he is a player that that I would love to see at Spurs.
Yeah, I think he is a quality player. Gets decent. I think got 6 goal contributions last year from centre mid. So he does actually he's fairly effective in the final third for a player in his position. He's really strong, very good close control, really great carrying the ball. I think his passing's decent. He's not quite the tempo setter, like the guy who puts his foot on the ball and kind of dictates play, but he's more like I think he is similar to like Dembele in a sense, but he's definitely a bit more progressive with his passing. Dembele would kind of beat a man and play a safe ball, where he definitely looks a bit more between the lines. And he is a creative player. He's more of a number 8 than a 6, but again, maybe we should stop thinking about 8s and 6s and just think about kind of profile or what kind of player we need. Definitely upgrade on what we have. I would say I would love him at Tottenham. I would love him. I think he's a quality player. And he's physical as well, so it doesn't get overrun. But I'm just trying to think where he fits in, because I still think we need that real elite passer. And I'm not saying he's a bad passer. He's probably better at passing than most of our midfielders. He's just like that's not the biggest strength of his game is his passing. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think, look, at the end of the day, I think he's an upgrade on whatever we have by quite some distance. So I don't think it matters about where he fits in, because if he was to sign for Spurs, he goes straight into the starting 11. And that's all you have to say on it,
Would you sign him and Paulinho, though, if it means not getting any other midfielders?
I think if we were to sign him, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Paulinho right now, but I think if we could sign him, and maybe one of the other names that we're talking about, then I would forego bringing in João Paulinho.
That's the direction I'm going.
Yeah, look, João Paulinho was never a necessity for me. He was just a player that I would love to see at the club next season because of what he did for us this season, and also the way De Zerbi talks about him and wants him back. That's just where my thinking was at. I don't think he's the be-all and end-all, João Paulinho. I just think he's a very good kind of profile to have within the squad. Yeah,
the only thing with Thuram is, well, I wouldn't say, again, he's not bad defensively, but he's no Paulinho, put it that way. He's not the one who's going to make 10 tackles a game. He's a lot less defensively, but he does cover ground well, but he's not on the same level as someone like a Paulinho defensively. So that's something we're just going to have to contend with.
Many players are.
No, that's also true. Also true.
Yeah. So we talk about this long list. The first name on that long list is a player that has been mentioned before, and that is Nico Gonzalez of Manchester City. Spurs journal again saying Nico Gonzalez, another midfielder option being considered.
Mm.
Like, if you could bring him in alongside a Thuram, then that's probably two players that are ready to go straight into the starting 11. You're looking at Thuram in the 8, Nico Gonzalez in the 6, and then whether it be Javi or a Madison, probably let's go for Madison because Javi's injured, so Madison in the 10. That's like complete regeneration of the midfield.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. I think Gonzalez is the perfect kind of fit for us. I think he's the kind of player we need. He's a brilliant passer of the ball. I think he's played under Pep's system as well, so he's not having to get used to a kind of extreme possession-based system. I really like Nico Gonzalez. I know it, at Man City, it started off, I thought, quite well. And then last season, for whatever reason, Pep went quite cold on him. And there were some games he was even starting Bernardo in the 6 ahead of him. And he was, I think, Everton away, albeit you could say maybe that was the wrong decision. But obviously, when Rodri came back, Rodri was back in the team and Gonzalez was out in the cold. But I was always fairly impressed with him. Clearly he wasn't as good as Rodri. There's no doubt about that. Rodri was clearly a lot better player right now. But I thought Gonzalez was pretty good whenever I saw him. I never saw a player who I thought, wow, this guy's a dud, City should get rid. But apparently there's rumours that they do want to sell for whatever reason. So I think I would be well in favour of bringing Nico Gonzalez in. Yes, you're not getting a player who's as good as Rice or Rodri or, I don't know, Caicedo. He's not quite on that level. He maybe has the potential to be, but you are getting a very good
level. Not quite. He's nowhere near that
level. He's not. He's not on. As I'm saying, he's not on that level. He might have the potential to be, but he's not on that level. But I think he's a quality midfielder, and I think he has the potential to develop into a top number 6.
Yeah. The other names on the list: Carlos Baleba, Alex Scott, and Ismail Sabari. Also names being considered at Tottenham, as mentioned before. No advancements yet. So I'm not sure Ismail Sabari. I'm not sure what kind of player he is. But in terms of Alex Scott, Carlos Baleba, it looks as though like maybe an Alex Scott or a Thuram or a Baleba or a Gonzalez, because they're like 2 8s and 2 6s.
Yeah, I would love. I mean, all of them sound good. I mean, Sabiri, I was looking into him. He does seem to be a bit more of a 10, but he has played a lot in the centre mid in his career. He plays for PSV. Last season, he got 15 goals and 8 assists, but mostly playing in the 10. The season before, he was mostly playing centre mid, and he got 10 goals and 10 assists. So the goal output didn't seem to change too much. It is the Eredivisie, so you've got to take that into account. I do think he's 20. I can't remember. He's not old though. 23, I think it was 24. Anyway, he seems like a very talented player. I don't know if he's an 8 or a 10. That's the only thing. Is he a player who's playing attacking midfield like last season or the season before, playing a bit deeper? Alex Scott, absolutely love him. As I've said, definitely not a 6. He's not really a sitter or a controller for me. I think he's much more of a Conor Gallagher kind of player with maybe a bit more technical ability, I would say, Alex Scott. But I just think if I could do a swap deal, Scott for Gallagher, I'll do it tomorrow. I would love that. Get someone who's fully COYS and get someone who's proper Chelsea out the door. And then who's the other one? Baleba. Yeah, I think Baleba has the potential to be an 8 or a 6, to be honest. I think he's actually quite good at sitting and is also quite good at the all-action stuff as well. I think he hasn't had the best of seasons, but I really believe in his quality. I think he's one worth taking a punt on, in my opinion. I know it might be expensive, but I think he's a great passer, so much energy as well, good ball carrier. So all the options seem good, to be honest. I mean, if that's our target list, if we get any of those, I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, me as well. And there's rumours as well that Yves Bissouma going back to Brighton. So maybe Yves Bissouma Brighton, and that will free up a space for Carlos Baleba to leave. Maybe.
Wouldn't say no. Then Bissouma starts smashing out, and we go, "Oh, Bissouma, bring him back."
And then Baleba.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing Tottenham, that's probably how it will pan out.
Yeah, and then this time next year, we'll be like, why did we get rid of Bissouma? Like, what are we doing?
He's definitely going to ball out of Brighton 100%, guaranteed.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know if he's going to go back there, but maybe. There are some rumours about Bissouma going to Coventry. under Frank Lampard, and there was another club mentioned as well. I can't remember who it
So
was.
Ajax, I think.
Ajax. So look, he's still got some Premier League interest in him. So we'll see how it goes for him. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today. Once again, come and join us at 3 a.m. for Korea against Czech Republic as we kick off on We Are Tottenham TV, the World Cup coverage. But yeah, hopefully see you there, guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.